Hey everyone, it's Victoria here, and I'm so excited for you all to meet this lovely lady, Zea Purnell. She is an absolute superstar, and she's got bags of grit, determination, and such a big heart. And I know I'm totally embarrassing his ear. So she's a devotee to the registered scene, and she's out in the field during the season. So Zea has been shooting for 5 years, and she shoots sporting. And in this episode of how she did it, we're going to get into that nitty gritty of Zea's journey and our top tips. So great big welcome, you. You're so good to have you join me. So thanks for being here. So as you know, I'm a massive fan of women pushing their comfort zones and how that greatness always happens on the other side of your comfort zone. So I'm really, really excited to chat to you. So I will stop talking, and I was wondering if you could just tell us a little bit more about you and how you got into shooting and where you are right now.
Okay, hello, I'm Zea, I'm 33 and I'm a sales administrator for a company that sells medical products. I live in Gloucestershire with my partner Joe and our dog Hector. And basically, as Victoria said, I've been shooting for 5 years now. If you'd asked me 5 years ago what I'd be doing most of my weekends, I definitely wouldn't be saying that I'd be going shooting all the time. And it just kind of happened because a couple of months into my relationship with Joe, he said to me, perhaps I would like to accompany him to see what he did on the weekends, clay shooting. So I had no interest whatsoever before this. And I couldn't really see why he was that enthusiastic about going out and hitting some clays. I was completely oblivious to it. And he took me along to go and watch him shoot a couple of competitions. And my interest kind of peaked by that point. I was thinking, yeah, that looks quite fun. And then the opportunity came up. We went to the game fair at Ragby Hall, and there was a have a go stand. And I don't think I hit the first clay, but it wasn't long before I hit clays quite consistently, and I was thinking, wow, that's just amazing. And something just clicked in me. I just really, really loved it. Joe offered to go and teach me the basics. We did that a couple of times, where we went into the practice field at the South Worcester shooting ground, which is where I kind of first picked up things like gun safety, proper footwork, how to stand, how to, address basic targets. And so we just kind of went from there, really. We learned a couple of different things. Then started doing a little bit of club shooting through Cheltenham District Clay Club. And then it just progressed from there, really. I learned the basics over about 2 years. And then I had a crazy notion that I was going to start shooting registered competitions. So, and that's how I kind of got to where I am now. 3 years later, I'm shooting them probably most weekends. So.
Amazing. Yeah. Oh, that's so good. So you obviously shoot a lot of registered competitions. Yeah. So can you just take us back to your first registered shoot? So, do you say you've been shooting for 2 years or 3 years?
So I've been learning the basics for about 2 years, and I remember the day, 1st of July, when I had my first competition, and it was really, really hot. Yeah, I just remember feeling incredibly nervous, but also really, really excited to see what I could do, because at that point, I didn't really feel like there was much expectation on me, because nobody knew who I was. All I had in my head was that I just wanted to try and hit as many of the targets I thought I could do. And if I got any of the harder targets, well, that was just a bonus. But I kind of just wanted to throw myself in there and see what I could do. So we worked our way through, and about 2 or 3 stands in, I started to relax a bit more. I started to really enjoy it, and it was very tiring. But by the end of it, I had the biggest buzz inside of me. I just felt really proud of going and doing it, and especially because I'd only learnt the basics 2 years before. I hadn't really, I've got no background whatsoever in shooting. And I was really chuffed, because I had been told by Joe or other people in your first competition to sort of aim between 20 and 40%. You know, that's a kind of realistic figure, because actually these targets are going to be perhaps things you've never seen before if you haven't shot a competition. And I remember Sean Porter, the head coach, who was our referee who'd taken us round that day, he turned to me and said, "Zea, I'm really pleased to say that you hit 50% of the targets." I was quite gobsmacked by that point and really chuffed, because I didn't expect that at all.
So would you say you're naturally confident? And how I guess, how have you built up your confidence as you've gone on? Because you must have had to hold your nerve quite a bit, you know, shooting wherever you're at.
Yeah. When people have met me, they probably think that I am quite naturally confident, because nowadays I don't feel the same kind of being held back about going and talking to people that I used to. And it's really funny, because I used to be a drama teacher and people would naturally assume that I was very confident, and couldn't be further from the truth, because I just got so used to being able to sort of put on that teacher act, and you get used to being able to do that in the classroom. But when you actually are out in a social situation and you know, you're talking to new people in new situations, new circumstances, and you're yourself rather than just this act that you kind of are used to putting on, it's actually very different. And so with the risk of sounding really cheesy, shooting has saved me with that, because it's made me develop confidence. It's made me challenge my comfort zones massively. And through doing that, and through going into new situations, meeting new people, and constantly pushing that, my comfort zones have got bigger and bigger. My world has got bigger, rather than getting smaller and smaller, because I get so worried and so worked up about whether people would like me, or whether, you know, I was saying the right thing in a situation. And actually, if you let that become too much of a thing, your comfort zones get smaller. Whereas by going out and shooting and realising that you can go in different situations, meet new people, you push yourself further, and so you become more confident. Yeah.
So you're so speaking my language. I just love it. Just always pushing for an ever-expanding comfort zone.
It's not easy.
No, it's not. But it's just kind of, you know, little by little, step by step, day by day. That's what I tell myself, and it kind of works.
Yeah.
So I just love your kind of honesty, and how you just totally kind of honest. And on Instagram, you share quite a lot as well, you know, and kind of setbacks you've had. So could you talk us through any kind of setbacks or challenges you've had with your shooting, and I guess how you dealt with them?
You know, over the winter, I had a bit of a spell of what I considered as bad scores, bad shoots. And it was because I was sort of mentally getting quite low about it, I think, and trying too hard. And the more that I tried too hard, and rather than just relax and enjoy it, the worse my scores were getting. To be fair, in the winter it's harder as well, because it can be, you know, worse weather. The conditions for the actual shoot can be harder, so it could be windy or raining. So you kind of expect a bit of a drop off. But then if you're trying too hard as well, it can just be a bit of a disaster, really. So I then, after I had that spell, I wrote a blog about it, and wrote, you know, a few things of how I could get myself back on track, and other people. And funny enough, it worked, because then my score started to go back up again, and I started to shoot better. I've just gone through another period just now where it's sort of, you know, I've had a bit of what I consider for my own shooting is, you know, not doing so well. And that was a physical issue where I'd realised some bad habits had crept in. So things like my stance, my footwork, for some reason, I don't know, changed. So it wasn't until a couple of people pointed out and said, look, and Joe particularly, and said, look, what are you doing with your feet? You know, that's totally wrong. Like, why have you changed that? So then I sort of adapted that and thinking, okay, that's fine. And even things like your gun mount, I mean, I'm awful with my gun mount. I'm really inconsistent, but that can have a massive effect as well. you start to look at your shooting and what happened on that day, and you say, okay, well, what can I take that was positive? Was there a stand that I shot really well? Was there a target that I connected with that I didn't necessarily think that I could today? Did I, if I was having a nightmare on one stand where I couldn't hit the target to start with, did I eventually find it? And do I remember how I did that? Was that I changed my hold point for the target, and then I realised, okay, that's where I was going wrong. I had my gun too far back to the trap. There'll be all these sort of things, and there should be something positive that you can take out of every single shoot, even if it is just something as simple as, I don't know, having a good conversation with a referee or something that makes you feel better. There will be something that you can take that's positive from the shoot.
So what would you say is the number one sabotage with your shooting?
Probably overthinking. I probably don't look like I do. But I tend to perhaps analyse things a little too much. And it's good. It's really good to be thinking, about the shot and, obviously not just going into something blindly, but quite often I need to be able to just trust that my brain and my eyes are correct and just get on with it, rather than thinking, oh, should my gun actually be over there, or should I just give that a bit more? And quite often I'll miss in front of the target because I'm pushing my gun too far in front, because I almost don't trust that actually my subconscious brain and my eyes, what my eyes are seeing, is exactly correct. Is, if I can just trust in my instinct, just get on and shoot the target rather than thinking about,
Yeah, so you are shooting the English Open soon. So that's really, really exciting. And congratulations as well for kind of, it's a big deal, isn't it? So there'll be some of the best shots in the world there. So how are you kind of preparing for this? Because this is your first major, isn't it, in terms of kind of practice and mindset-wise?
Yeah, I think it's been something we've sort of talked about doing majors for a while, but it's not really been, it's only this year I kind of thought, let's see what it's like, give it a go, because, there's a lot of good shoots out there to do, and I think it's really good to sort of, again, open, your comfort zones and go out a little bit bigger and take part in something that's a big event. So I think in terms of mental preparation is just remembering to enjoy it, because actually where I'm at right now, although I am improving, there's not really going to be any pressure for me to perform to a certain standard. I think what I will need to do is physically prepare a lot of things. So, and that's important for any shoot, really, but I suppose particularly for the bigger majors, because obviously you're going to be shooting more targets for a longer period of time. So, in terms of preparation, I would make sure that I've got as much of my kit ready that is possible. There's preparation that you can do, and that's in terms of taking as much kit that you think, for hot, for cold, for dry, for wet, basically if you've got all of that stuff and you're prepared, you have enough drinks and staff and all the rest of it, you are less likely to be concerned about anything that is going on behind the trigger, behind the gun, than you are to be focusing on targets. So preparation physically will probably help me feel more settled, and hopefully my nerves won't be as bad, and so I should hopefully shoot better.
Let's talk about kind of feeling out of your depth. So what would your advice be to any ladies who are kind of feeling a bit out of their depths with their shooting, or like lack confidence, or want to do registered but just aren't quite ready? What would you say to them?
If you're sort of going through a bad patch, what I would suggest is that you get out and practice, because the more you practice, the more you sort of build that confidence. You can go and start, if you're having a really low time, go and practice the targets that you know that are just perhaps stuff that you've been hitting consistently, but just get that feeling of, right, okay, I can hit a clay, I can hit it consistently again and again. And then go and practice those harder targets that you think, okay, I don't know how to tackle that. But there's a lot of people who will give advice to you out there. Thinking back to times when you have shot well and thinking why and how it happened, and just knowing that nothing is always going to keep the same. There's always going to be peaks and troughs, always, regardless of whatever class you're in. We know a lot. Joe's obviously, he's a good shot. He's at the moment AAA, but we know a lot of our friends are AA and AAA shots, and everyone goes through peaks and troughs, and it doesn't matter what class you're in. The difference is that people who have been shooting for longer and perhaps in those higher classes, they are so used to that, they've gone through that so many times, and generally they're able to sort of pick themselves up a bit more and analyse why things are going wrong. So basically it happens to all of us. Take the positives and get back to enjoying it.
So important. So important. So what would you say has been your biggest achievement so far with your shooting, and did you ever think it was possible?
This is going to sound really weird, but it's actually going to my first Fun Club event, because I know that a lot of people who will be watching this, they have come to shooting through Fun Club. Now, I was a little bit different. I started through shooting with Joe. And because I wasn't very confident, I had to learn to, push my comfort zones a bit. I dragged my feet massively about going and doing any ladies' events, which is really, there will be probably some women who are similar, who are sort of kind of going, oh God, I don't know if I can do things on my own independently from my partner. And it took a bit of persuasion from my friend Danielle Brown to do my first Fun Club event. She kind of, I've met her through doing registered competitions. And she said to me, oh, you must come along, it's a different kind of thing. It's really supportive. And in a way, you get to, chat to women that perhaps are going through the same fears as you, whereas you don't really get to necessarily do that at a competition, because you'll have a chat afterwards or as you're going around to people, but it's not that kind of same environment. I remember as soon as I walked into the clubhouse, I met a group of ladies, an experienced group of ladies, and they made me feel at ease so quickly. There was a bit of mickey taking about, like, oh, here's the professional. Because they knew, they'd all been told that I shot competitions before everyone met, and but no, they were so lovely, so incredibly lovely, and made me feel so welcome. And I just thought, you know what, I'd had all these fears and worries about whether or not I'd be able to go off and be independent and shoot on my own, and also meet a group of women I'd never met before. And I came back and I had the biggest grin on my face, the biggest grin. And I just felt, wow, okay, that is, probably a big achievement for me. It's not for everybody, but it was for me because I'd been putting it off for ages before I actually went and did it.
I'm so glad you did. And I just genuinely didn't expect
it. Here we are.
So I'm just like, oh. But it is like, I can totally understand that. I can totally understand that, actually, because like, even though it is Fun Club, and once you've kind of been to a couple of events, you're just like, oh yeah, it's Fun Club, and everyone's lovely and friendly. But I can totally see how you'd be nervous. And in fact, when we first started it, I was so nervous. So you put so much into your shooting, which is just really inspiring, that you just keep on investing in yourself. So I know you have lessons. So how often do you have them?
I sort of said perhaps I'd ask Steve Nutbeam, who runs Longbridge Shooting Ground, because we knew people who were having lessons through him. And then if there's something that is really challenging, like a target, and I think, oh God, I really don't know how to approach that, and we try, one way of doing things, he might then try and get me to do something completely different, so a completely different method of breaking the clay. So it really is, it's incredibly useful to go and get lessons. especially from somebody that you know, perhaps you've heard through other people, has brought them on with their shooting as well. So yeah, it's really useful.
That's so good. Okay, so my final question before we do our little quick fire round is what's the most important thing you've learned that's really allowed you to push forward with your sport?
Enjoy it.
Yeah.
To remember why you are doing it, because we get so caught up in scores and averages. And I'm just as guilty as a lot of people at looking at where I'm at compared to somebody else. And the moment that you start doing that, it's just going to go wrong, because you start looking at what somebody else is doing or where you're at and why you haven't hit the same kind of figure as the last shoot, or you can't compare things because you don't know whether one shoot was harder than another. You don't know whether somebody else has put in more time and effort or has had more lessons. You don't have no idea what else is going on in the background of these things. And it really is. We do it constantly. We do it through social media and all the rest of it. We compare ourselves physically and what people's lives and things are doing. But in terms of shooting, it is an individual sport. It is something you measure your progress by how you feel that you've shot, not what score you get. Because I can go to a shooting ground and go, yeah, okay, I have got a low score, but actually I feel like I shot that really well. And I'm really proud of hitting that target or being more consistent with that stand. So I would say, for me to progress, I'm trying to remember why I started doing it, and it's because I absolutely love it. I love to see a clay break. Bizarre, I do.
But it's so true that I think, again, I've been guilty of this, and you get so kind of like wrapped up in like what everyone else is doing and, kind of shooting badly and just loads of stuff, don't you? And it just takes away that enjoyment. And we shoot, life's tough enough as it is, and we shoot because we enjoy it. So I don't know I don't know why I just I overcomplicate things, not as much as I used to, but it's just human nature, isn't it? So that's such an important point, to just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've just loved this. I really have. Everything that you've said, it's been brilliant. So with our little How She Did It inspirational interviews, we always wrap up with a quick fire round. So I'm going to ask you a few quick questions, and if you could just answer with a 1 or 2 word answer. So question 1, when I'm not shooting, I'm
talking about it. That's 3 words.
Oh, that's right.
Or thinking about it.
Yeah. Amazing. So your dream squad, dead or alive?
Should say Joe, really. He's my partner, because we do shoot well together. But Hannah Gibson, I had the pleasure of shooting with. Sorry, I can't really explain more if I just stick to a couple words. Hannah Gibson, I had the pleasure of shooting with a couple of months ago, and she's a massive inspiration to me, and very like-minded. So she'd be a top person. And Emma Stacey as well is another really fantastic lady I haven't shot with, but I've talked to on shooting grounds, and she's lovely as well. So yeah, those 2.
Oh, amazing. Okay, and your ultimate shooting goal is?
Consistency, because then you know that you can work on something if you know exactly where you are. I think.
So good. If you could go back to when you first started shooting, you'd tell yourself?
Fitness and health is actually really important to your shooting, because I've had, my gun is quite heavy, so I've had to work on building my arm muscles, and so obviously, the more that I can control my gun and feel that it's I'm controlling it rather than it controlling me, the better my shooting is. And similarly, I've realised that my core muscles that were previously really bad and still are a little bit, they can really affect your shooting as well. So your health and fitness, if you are fit and healthy, then I think that really does make a huge difference. I wish I'd known that when I first started, because it's taken me a while to realise that.
Brilliant. Yeah, that's an important one, actually. Okay, and our final question is, I celebrate a decent score by
whooping, cheering, generally being a bit goofy.
Right.
Anybody who knows me has been around me when I've realised that I've had a good score. I am quite animated. I know that I've got quite an expressionful face. So I think people generally know how I feel with my facial expressions. I try to be a little bit more reserved these days, because I don't think everyone necessarily needs to see me celebrate. But yeah, probably just a massive grin on my face is probably how.
You're going to say gin and tonic or a large glass of wine or something.
Oh, so yeah, and that as well. A large glass of white gin and tonic.
Oh, that's so nice though, because I think, you know, we need to celebrate our wins, and it's not about kind of being vain or like, look at me or anything. It's just like you put a lot of work in, and when you shoot really well and everything comes together, I think like, you know how I love to like share my win and stuff. So yeah, good for you. Oh, it's been such a pleasure, Zea. Honestly, I've just like really, like, I just haven't stopped smiling throughout this whole interview. So thank you.
Sorry, I've waffled a lot.
It's been amazing. So where can everyone find you online if they want to share your journey with you? So like Instagram, and you mentioned earlier you've got a blog as well.
Yeah, so I haven't written anything for a couple of months just because of time constraints more than anything else. So I do have a website called gungirluk.com, and I've written a couple of blogs, and there's a couple on there about competitions, a couple about kit lists and things like that. So I thought that might be useful to people starting out. But I also have an Instagram account. If you search for me, Zea Purnell, and you'll find me. I'm afraid if you do go down that route, you'll have to put up with a few pictures of my dog and my dinner as well, because it's not just shooting, it is other things in my life. But yeah, you can follow me on that.
Oh, thank you ever so much. Right.
You're very welcome.
Oh, and I'll see you soon.
Fantastic, thank you.